Okay, Mike, thank you. And then also everyone, good evening. Like I hope everyone's having a good night tonight. For the second presentation, I'm going to be discussing how to track someone by examining volume shadow copies using something I am calling the practitioner method. And then also while I'm doing this, if you guys see me, look off to the left because that's where my other screen is, where the questions are, and then also where the slides are right as well. So first off, just some things about me, some of my background. I do have a master's, and I do have different certs. Certs for security, forensics is the ENCE, and then I have some other certs back from the days when I used to be in technology. I'm the author of the blog blog the J2R. And then pretty much for my experience, I've been involved with forensics for about 4 years. During my daytime job, it is mostly doing fraud cases. For the past 2 years, for my night work, it's dealing with malware. That's also like a frequent topic that I also blog about as well. I've been involved for security for about 6 years, more on the technical end. Started out doing configuration management, hardening servers, and also patch management. And then for the past 4 years, I do security assessments against other state agencies. And then I've been involved for technology for 10 years. That's how I got my start. I came up through the ranks, data cabling, desktop support, server admin, managing a network. So that's a little bit about me. And now for the presentation. First, I'm going to start discussing what are volume shadow copies. Next will be why should we even care about shadow copies. And then I'm going to quickly discuss the practitioner method. And then for the second half of the presentation, I'm going to demonstrate the practitioner method by processing a fake case study. It's not a case study, like a fake case. And that's going to be accessing shadow copies, and then examining the shadow copies, and lastly, I'm going to summarize everything up. And something I did want to mention is that this presentation I actually put together for tonight, like a few months ago, and everything I'm discussing kind of extends the stuff I've been blogging about. So there's some stuff and there's some new scripts that I haven't posted out there yet. And then this is just meant to provide context to the practitioner method by showing how it can be done to actually process a case. So first starting off, what are exactly volume shadow copies? One of the easiest ways to understand what they are is to watch a video. I'm going to show a quick 30-second video. Bear with me while I find it.
Hello, Mac.
What's with all of the U's?
Oh, yeah, this is my new backup feature, Time Machine.
Oh.
It automatically makes copies of me every hour. So if I accidentally delete a file, I can always find it. Exactly. Plus, it's part of Leopard, so it comes on every Mac.
I have to say, Mac, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, thanks, PC. Yeah, thanks, PC. Oh, thanks, PC. Thanks, PC. Yeah, thanks, PC.
Okay,
yeah, thanks,
you're
PC.
welcome, all of you. You don't have to go down the whole line.
Sorry about that. So then pretty much that, that video shows exactly what volume shadow copies are. And to answer Ty's question, is the fake case going to be available? That's something I'm not going to make available because it's my live laptop. And then the hard drive I'm using, it's a hard drive for forensics, so it's not my personal hard drive that I use for other stuff. So I can't image this and go and provide it out because it's just a live system. And then I created the fake case. The fake case, I created it, and it's sitting inside of my shadow copies right on my laptop. So I can't make those available. So then pretty much, so then going back to the presentation about what are the shadow copies, this was something Apple this was something Apple used to put on TV for a commercial about 4 years ago, and then one of the main reasons why Apple stopped airing this commercial, that is because now PC, he is rolling deep. He has some people behind him now too, because he has volume shadow copies, which is the Windows functionality to the Apple's time machine. So continuing with shadow copies have shadow copies have been out since Server 2003. Back in my admin days was the first time I came across shadow copies, because I would configure them to actually monitor my shares. It just made things a lot easier. So if somebody deleted something, I could actually get the file back pretty quickly without having to go to backup tapes. Also, back on Server 2003, shadow copies would only back up the actual shares on the system. So it didn't do the whole hard drive at all. But now starting with Vista and also with Windows 7, both of those now come with volume shadow copies, and then also they actually cover the entire volume. So it's just not network shares, it's actually the entire volume. And all volume shadow copies is just a backup feature. And what happens is, if there's any changes that are done to the volume, then a backup gets created, and then that backup only contains the changes, and then that's what's called a shadow copy. And then for anyone who wants more, like a better way to explain it, there's some other sources. I believe I put some links on my blog about it, but they go into more depth. So I was just trying to provide just a quick overview, just explaining what they are. So secondly, why should we even care about volume shadow copies? Well, as the video just showed, the first reason it is for data. The first reason is for data recovery. If someone deletes a document, or else even if they delete any types of files, you can actually get those files back by going through the volume shadow copies, without having to do any data carving. And the second reason why we should care, and for me, I think this is the more powerful reason, it is because you can see data change over time. And by this, what I mean is, if someone took my laptop today, whether if it's a live system or else even if they got an image of it, when you're looking right at my laptop, you would see all of the data as it stands right now. So you see any changes that I made today, any files that are on my system, you would just see it just from today, which is March 15th. But when you bring in volume shadow copies, you can see that same data, and it's not just files. You can do like the configuration, like system configuration. You can look at user activity, and then you can look at that at different points in time. So if you want to go back to March 1st, then you can look at the exact same system that you're seeing today, the exact same data, just as that data looked on March 1st. You can even go back to last month, to February. You can go back as far back as the volume shadow copies go. So on this, I'm saying December 15th. So it all depends on just how far back that the shadow copies go. So for Mike's question, do volume shadow copies stomp over slack space, making file carving more difficult? That's a question that I don't know right now, so I can't answer that question. But I can look for the answer afterwards, and then I will let you know. I do know when volume shadow copies, when you configure it, you set your space limits. And once that space limits is reached, it actually overwrites the last shadow copy. I'm not sure if it uses the exact same location on the hard drive, or else if it does touch on any space that is not used. So then Nick on the right, do volume shadow copies stomp over? Oh, all right. He just repeated that question. All right. Thanks, Mike. All right, so continue on. The last thing I just want to mention is just why should we care? This is a case that I actually faced. So this is from my archives, and pretty much with the system that I had, some things though were done to the computer. First, data was deleted. And by data, I'm not just talking about a few files, it's entire folders. Folders with all types of different file types. Some were executables and DLLs to run programs. Others were databases. So all different types of folders that were deleted. Also, software was taken off of the system. And then a profile was deleted from the system, and a account was as well. And what was done to the computer is once the user account was deleted in the profile, a actual new user account that was set up and configured. By looking at the system, I could see that these actions were done on the system, but what ended up happening is it was a Windows 7 system, and that system had volume shadow copies. So what happened? Sorry about that. Like, I keep hitting enter thinking the slides are on my computer. So what ended up happening? First, volume shadow data was deleted. Shadow copy showed me when that data was deleted. I could narrow it down within a 24-hour time span because all of this activity occurred, and it occurred within a 24-hour period that was sandwiched between two volume shadow copies. So I could examine both of the two different shadow copies, in order to see all the activity that occurred within that 24-hour period. Software was taken off. The shadow copy showed me what was taken off the system. The profile was deleted again. That showed me when, and the account was deleted. It showed me who. And the biggest thing is, like, everything I was seeing on the system, the shadow copy helped me confirm that all of that was going on. So the summary of that, what the user did to that computer basically told me where to focus on. If they delete data, they're deleting data for a reason, and that's where the first place I looked at, and then that was also the data that the case needed. And the thing is, all of this activity occurred 2 months prior to me getting the system, so volume shadow copies were a key to that examination. And I'm not sure how successful I would have been processing the entire case without volume shadow copies. So now on to the practitioner method. Something I wanted to do is just provide a little background why I even started down this path. At the time I got a case, it was a Vista, and then I haven't dealt much with volume shadow copies, so I was going through that, and then shortly after I got another case that was multiple systems that were basically Windows 7. So at the time, the tool set though that I had, they didn't work with volume shadow copies. That's the open source tools I was using, free as well as the commercial products. They just didn't support it well. And then the second thing was the techniques that were being used, that are still being used, are great options, but for me, they just were too time consuming. The techniques I'm referring to, first is to create an image, of all of the volume shadow copies, and then analyzing the data that is inside of each image. And the second one was to copy data out from all of the shadow copies and then to examine the data. But pretty much neither of those methods didn't work well for me, because what I wanted to do was just parse the data directly right inside the shadow copy. I didn't want to, because I didn't want to copy it out. I just wanted to examine it. So that was the issue I was faced with. So what did I do? I first looked to see what other people were doing. Like, I looked at Troy's work, and then everything Troy did for the volume shadow copies that he provided to the community. I also looked at the Sausage Factory blog. I think there was about 2 or 4 posts. There were 3 or 4 posts that discussed how to copy data out and then to examine that data. There's a paper on that method as well. So, and then lastly, I took a concept from one of Harlan's script, and pretty much what the script did is it would take a key from a hive, and then it would traverse through all of the same hive throughout the system restore points and extract that key. And I started looking at a different way to examine shadow copies is because the script only works on XP or 2000. It doesn't work on volume shadow copies. So I actually wanted that ability to run Reg Ripper across a mounted image and across every single hive every single hive doing the volume shadow copies. So that was the concept though that I wanted to do. So I took that and I just made some tweaks and I extended it. Instead of using Red Ripper and just Robocopy, like I wanted to use any tool that I had in my tool set. And lastly, I wanted to script it. And then why did I script it? And then the next slide, will cover that. All right. So the practitioner method. This slide shows what the practitioner method is. If you look on the bottom left-hand side, there's a guy. That is us with our tools. We got our little tool case, and then also in our hand is our tool of choice. The right, the circle is supposed to be a volume shadow copy, and inside of volume shadow copies we have folders, and we also have files. So the way the practitioner method works is you create a symbolic link to the volume shadow copies, and when you run your tool through the symbolic link at the data inside the volume shadow copy, and then the output comes back to your tool. That's pretty much how the method works. On my blog, like I did talk about a second method, which is the developer, and that one you can access the shadow copies directly without needing to do the symbolic link. So, as I said, you don't have. Let me click back just real quick. I just wanted to highlight something. If you look at the symbolic link, if you look underneath it, you're going to see VSC 19, and what that means is this is a symbolic link to shadow copy 19. So that's saying that the system has at least around 19 volume shadow copies. So when you run your tool, whether if you're using it through the GUI or else even through the command line, you are going to have to run that same tool 19 different times. And then something I found on the first system dealing with shadow copies is it gets tedious. You keep typing the same command over and over and over again, and then as soon as you're typing it across multiple volume shadow copies, it was error prone, and then it just became too much. So that's when I decided I had to learn how to script. So I started teaching myself batch scripting. Prior to that, I didn't know how to script anything, but I started working with batch scripts so I could automate it to help save some time. So to do the practitioner method, you don't have to script it. All you're doing is just analyzing data as it's in the shadow copy. It just makes life easier, and then you don't even have to understand a lot about batch scripting. All you have to understand is just what a for loop is, and also how that for loop works. All right, see a question in the bottom right from Zane. The default settings for the creation of the shadow copies, it actually depends between Vista and also Windows 7. If you install software, a shadow copy will be created, and when you run updates, it gets created. And by default on Vista, shadow copies get created every 24 hours, and on Windows 7, they get created every 7 days. Yes, so the cases you see, they could have been the difference between 7 and also Vista, and also it depends on what, and then also it would depend on what some of the other activity was on the system. All right. So then now we are going to go on to the fake fraud case, and going pretty much for this fake case, I set up a person though is stealing money from a company. And when they think he's creating fraudulent documents to hide his theft. Pretty much the way how this fraud would work is you take the money and then you create a fake document explaining. Then you create a fake document showing that the money that you took was used to purchase something. And if anyone is looking through, they'll see the document and be like, oh, okay, this missing $1,000. So this $1,000 went to go pay for this, when in actuality somebody takes it with them. And then as the digital forensic practitioner, our main goal is to determine if the person was creating the fake documents. That's the goal of this case and the way how it's being processed. Something I wanted to mention is that this is a completely fake case. This isn't based on anything real at all. And it's just for demonstration purposes, but this is a case that I could get faced with tomorrow at my day job. So it's better for me now to start looking at this type of cases on on a 7 to see how I could leverage shadow copies in order to solve this case. Uh, so to answer Mike's question about the Windows 8, I've seen comments where people have said there are shadow copies there. Like I haven't looked at 8 at all, so I can't answer that question. I don't. If you send it out to Twitter, like there may be a couple of people who are playing with 8 who can tell you. So continue on with some more background about the fake case. So the system that this person was using, his name was Corey. That way I don't offend anyone else. I'll just use my own name. The system he's using is a 7 Ultimate 64-bit, and this system is also live. It's live because it's just for the demo purposes. And then also when you're looking at the software that's installed on the system, the one software that popped out was Microsoft Office 2007. The reason why that one popped out is because that's the only program that is installed besides WordPad that can create a actual fake document to make it look like some type of financial document. And so then to process this fake case, we're going to do it in 4 steps. Step 1 is going to be to access the volume shadow copies. Step 2 is to look to see what documents Corey has been accessing, because if he's creating fake documents on that system, sooner or later he's going to be accessing documents, and then that's going to lead you to where those documents are. That's just a technique I found to be more to work pretty well working on fraudulent cases. Instead of looking at all of the documents on a system, I'll just go right to the person who is suspected of doing something and just following his tracks to lead me to where the documents are. Step 3 is going to be if there are any documents, we're going to look at the actual documents, their history, to see if that sheds any light, and then lastly, we're going to examine the content that is inside of the documents. So step 1, access and volume shadow copies. The practitioner method only works on a actual mounted volume. There are different ways where you can do that. There are different ways to do that. For this presentation, the option I'm going to do is to use a drive that's on a live system. So I'm just going to be looking at the shadow copies that are on my laptop. And then also at the bottom, here are some different things. Here are some different sources if anyone wants to know more about accessing shadow copies. So access. All right. So accessing volume shadow copies. This is pretty much the process that I use. First, I just get a quick preview. I just quickly see what shadow copies are there, and just a quick peek at just the file system. And then secondly, then I'll run the VSS admin command, and I run that so I can get the volume shadow copy number. And then once I get the volume shadow copy number, and then I will create symbolic links to each volume shadow copy that I want to examine. The number of shadow copies that varies. Sometimes I do all the shadow copies. If I'm looking at what somebody has been accessing for, like this case, for documents, I would want to look at the activity across all of the shadow copies. If it goes back 2 months, then that will give a more complete picture of what that person has been doing. But other times, I'm just interested in a specific time span, so I would just use 1 shadow copy. So it just kind of varies. So right now, I'm going to be doing the first demo, which is accessing volume shadow copies. And then, Mike, quick question. Can everyone see my desktop now, or?
Yep, you can see your desktop.
All right, you can see it now?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So pretty much to access volume shadow copies, what I'm going to be using is a collection of scripts that I posted, I think like last month. It's like I just called it VST parser. I couldn't think of a actual better name. This is a way to actually automate it. But first, I need to get the actual quick peek, and for that, I will use Shadow Explorer. And then with Shadow Explorer, you can see right now I'm pointing it at the C volume. This is a drop-down menu, so you can see other volumes that are mounted to my system, and then you can also see what the shadow copy is. So right now we're looking at a shadow copy from January 21st, and then that's at 12/22, and then these are the folders that are on it. And then if you want to see other shadow copies, you can just use this drop-down menu. And then as you can see, there's a ton of different volume shadow copies. So this here is just a quick peek. And now I will go to my VST parser program so I can actually create links to the shadow copies. So I started it quickly. You can see that there's pretty much that there's no warnings. So I have all of the other programs that this depends on. And then on the main menu, I'm just going to be using option 1, which is to set up access to volume shadow copies. So I go into 1, and going into set up access, it's pretty much 2 steps. First step is going to be to list the volume shadow copies to get the number, and the second step is going to be to create a text file that the script uses in order to know what of volume shadow copies to use. So I'll press 1 to list the volume shadow copies. This is just a quick prompt. You probably can't see it. It's to save it as a text file. I'll just click yes, enter here. Now at this point, this just asks for your drive letter. So the drive letter that we care about is C. I'll just enter C and hit enter. And now it just listed all of the volume shadow copies. I'll scroll up to the top so we can see what the first one is. So here we can see what the first shadow copy is, and then with this you're looking for two different things. First is the creation time. As you can see, this is from January 21st of 2012, like a few months ago. And the second thing you're going to be looking for is the shadow copy number. So we can see it starts with shadow copy 1, and then you can see it counts up from 2. And then I'll scroll all the way down to the bottom so we can see what the last volume shadow copy is. So from here, we can see it goes up to shadow copy 22nd, and then that was created on March 13th, so on Tuesday. So the volume shadow copies covers a time span from January until March. So next is to actually create links to the shadow copies. And to do that, you're going to create an actual text file. That's going to be option 2. And then as soon as you start this, there's just a prompt asking you, are you sure that you want to create it? The reason the prompt is there, because if there is a text file present, once you click yes, it actually writes it. So I'll click yes to enter a new one. And then this is just saying when you enter the numbers, you're just entering the number starting at the highest, going to the lowest. So now I'll just type in the highest we're going to go is the 22. And then I'll scroll in. So this is just entering the 22. That's the shadow copy I want. Hit enter, and then this just prompts you: do I want to enter a second number? I'll click yes, and then I'll go in. I'll type 21. Hit enter, and then it comes up: do I want to add another one? And you'd go through this process so you could enter all of the shadow copies still that you want. But for the demonstration, I'm not going to go through and type in all of them. It's just because it will just take too long. And once you do it, there's you go into the output folder, and then you'll see 2 text files. One is all the shadow copies because I said yes, and secondly is going to be this file. This is the file that just got created by entering just 22 and 21. When you open it, pretty much all the text file is just a number 1 per line. And for the demonstration purposes, we're only going to be looking at 12 shadow copies. We aren't going to be doing the actual full 22, just for time span wise. So then if you look, I just copied in from 22, counting all the way down until 10. So now we have our text file created. So we're going to go in, and then now we're going to do option 3, which is to create an actual symbolic link. So create 3, enter, and now we just created 12 links to 12 different volume shadow copies. You can see link was created, and then the links are being named VSC, and I'm using the number 20. I'm using the volume shadow copy number, so it's quickly to see which one I'm dealing with. So this is VSC 22 for volume shadow copy 22 all the way down to shadow copy 10. So now if we go to our C drive to see what exactly did that just do, and now we can see we have symbolic links to 12 different VSCs. And at this point, you can analyze the data directly. You can analyze it though with any type of tool that you want. You can do the command line tools. You can use a GUI. Like right now, I just went into shadow copy 15 with my browser, and I can see all of this data. So just going back to the main menu for this, and now going back to the slides. All right. So then pretty much, so at this point we have links to every single shadow copy, so we can start analyzing the data directly without having to copy it out, and also without having to actually image, the VSCs. So then now we can go with the final 3 steps to process the case. Step 2 is going to be determine what documents the person accessed, and then to figure this one out, we're going to be parsing two separate types of files. There's going to be link files and also jump lists. First up is link files. Link files get created whenever a document gets accessed, and then for this demonstration, I'm going to be parsing 2 different folders though that contain link files: the recent folder in Windows and the recent folder in Office. When you do parse both of the folders, this will create duplicate of the link files, because if you access a Office document, it's going to create a link file in both places. And the reason why I do both of them is because there's times where link files get deleted from the recent folder, but the person who deleted them doesn't realize there's a recent folder inside of the Office. So if someone cleans out, well, if they clean out one folder, then there's a chance you can actually get those files back from a different folder. So those are link files. And then to parse the link files, I'm going to be using the actual modified version to Harlan's script. If you want to know more about the script and then why I did change it, I actually posted the link to my blog where I use it. I actually modified the script for a different reason, and then I realized you can leverage it to examine volume shadow copies. If anyone wants to know, and then the way the script works is you just run the script and you point it at a folder that contains link files, and then also at the bottom that is the code for the batch script if you want to create the batch file with it. And then the second artifact are going to be jump lists I'm going to parse. And a jump list is a new artifact that is in 7. And then inside a jump list, they also show what documents somebody has access. There's 2 folders that contain jump lists. I'm only going to be parsing one of them, and that folder is the automatic destinations folder. Tool I'm going to be using, again, this is Harlan's script, jl.pl, the Perl script. This is a script that he put out with his new book. If you want to know more about jump list analysis, again, there's some references, and then the code is down at the bottom. So now it's time for the second demo. Let me find my screen. All right. All right, so now this is the now this is the second screen, and then for tracking somebody's activities, I put a new script together, and that's going to be option 5. This script is not in the VSC parser tool. I actually posted online. So I'll go into option 5, and then inside of option 5, this script will do a couple things. It'll parse link files, parse jump lists, parse file metadata as well. So we want to do option 1 to parse link files. Again, it asks for the drive letter. The drive letter for the volume shadow copies, it's C. And then I'll zoom in real quick so you can see this. So then at this point, the only thing you have to enter is just the actual name of the profile we want to parse. And we're interested in Corey. And then I also threw this in. If I want to parse the link files that are like automatically, I don't parse both files. Then it's just a prompt if you want to do the Office recent as well. So we'll click yes for that. Then the second one I put in is do you want to parse the link files that are in the mounted volume as well? Since I'm working off a live system for the demo, I'm just going to click no. But you could use that if you have a actual image that is mounted. So then that way you can see the activity from your image, the one you're first going to be looking at, and see how that looks across all of the different shadow copies. So I'll click no. So boom, that's it. So it took a few seconds, and that just parsed all of the link files in 2 different folders across 12 different shadow copies. So you can see process from 22 to 10, and then there's a thing that says that they have all been parsed. Press any key to continue. So something I'm going to do quickly is just parse the jump list, and then I'm going to go in to show exactly, to show how that data looks. So option 2, the parse jump list. Drive letter again. This is very similar. It's just asking to type in what the profile name is. Again, we're going after Corey. He's kind of shady. And pretty much what I'm doing here is when you parse a jump list, you can parse a single jump list, or else you can parse all of the jump lists that are in the actual automatic destinations folder. So I want to parse all of the jump lists that are in there. So I'll type in anything but 1, hit enter. Again, do I want to parse the mounted volume? I'm going to click no because I'm doing my live system. Boom, we're done. So again, a few seconds. Now I just parsed every single jump list that is in the automatic destinations folder across 12 different volume shadow copies. It took a few seconds. So pretty much parsing all the link files and all the jump lists maybe took about a minute, like an actual minute with using the script and then parsing it. But it gives you a ton of data that is pretty interesting. So I'm just looking for the folder. Alright, so we're in the actual output folder. And as you can see, we have 2 folders. One for jump lists, one for link files. I'm going to go into link files. This is just the actual CSV file. I'm just going to open it just real quick. And then you can kind of see. I'm just going to zoom in just real quick. As you can see, this just parsed like a bunch of different link files. And then we can kind of see what the link files are, so we can start seeing some stuff that is in here. But I'm just going to run a quick sort and put this in order by volume shadow copy so it's a little easier to see. I'm just sorting column A from just A to Z so we can see what we see. So then now we're going to zoom in. So the first line is from the VSC 10. And then right now, we're just going to browse down just until we see like the first Word document. Like we can see an actual temp file being accessed. Again, there's a temp file looking for any type of Word document. And this is the link file that we first see for an actual Word document. So it looks like the name says it's an invoice for Staples. So then now, if you're interested in that, link file, you can browse through this parse link file and get timestamps for the link file, timestamps for that document, and then also you can look through to see, and then you can also look to see where that file is. So as we see, that file is located, or was located, since this is from shadow copy 12, in a folder called drivers video, and then there's your invoice. So right there is interesting. So now let's go check out the actual parse jump list. I'll just zoom in real quick so you can see this is volume shadow copy 12, auto destinations folder. But I'm going to browse down to shadow copy 12 since the first document that we saw on since the first document that we saw in the 12 shadow copies showed up in shadow copy 12. So here's shadow copy 12, and then since that link file said that the document was a Word document, we're going to find the jump list for Word. And the jump list for Word is for Word 2007 is listed here. I got that. There's two different sites that actually list what the jump list IDs are. One is the basic forensic artifacts. The other one is the basic wiki. So now we're going to start, wrong one. Quick sec, I just lost my place. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to zoom in real quick. So now we're actually looking at the jump list, and then what you can see is this part is showing the documents that are accessed. So we're going to look through, and then we can see at on February 1st at 3:08 that that Word document was accessed. It's the invoice Staples Word document. If you start looking down through the Word jump list, and then you can see shortly before that document was accessed, Word was used to access a image called Staples. It's called staples.png. And then if you look just before that image was accessed, you can see at 12:49 that Word was used to access a actual Microsoft Office template called Blue Background Finance Charge. We actually saw that template get accessed with that link file, and now the jump list is showing that Word was not only used to access a actual Word document, but it was also used to access a template and a actual image as well. This is information that the link files wouldn't have shown, is that image and then that template. So pretty much the jump list and then the link files gave us some good information. So now let's just go on the live system and see what exactly that folder is. So then if you browse into the folder that we found with the link files and the jump list, we can see we're in drivers video, and then we can see we have some Word documents in here. And then the Word document, the Word document that we saw was this one, the Staples Office one. So let's open this real quick to see what it is. Quick look, you can see it's a Staples document. It's an invoice for a desk or something for $1,000. So this looks like a actual document used for financials. So now we just determined that yes, Corey's account was being used to create documents on right on the system. All right. So now, seeing if there's any questions. The techie, to answer your question, I'm just using an actual simple bash script, and then pretty much all I'm doing with that bash script is there was actually just using an actual loop inside of it, and it's just this. It's just jo.pl, and then I'm pointing it at a folder. This is a actual variable that I'm using when that variable is getting populated from that text file that has all of those actual basic numbers listed out. And then on the right-hand side for Nick, does your script capture the hash of the file so that you can quickly see what changed? Yes, the script will do hashes of all the files, but to see quickly what has changed, the better method to determine that is to run diff. The diff is a actual Linux program, but there is a port for it for actual Windows. If you go to my blog, I actually posted that. And what you can do is you can run diff and point it at two different symbolic links. Then that will tell you the exact difference between those shadow copies. It will tell you what files are present in one and not in the other. And it will also tell you what files are actually different, that are different between them. All right, it looks like Dan just answered the question for about 8 of the shadow copies. And Ty, the slides, they are available online. I actually posted it to my blog a couple days ago, so if you go to my blog, it's going to be the actual first post. So then continue on. Step 3 is going to be examining the document's history, and we're going to be examining the document's history by examining the actual data that's inside of it. For the metadata. And the tool I'm going to be using is a tool that a couple months ago, a couple of people on Twitter pointed out to me. And the cool thing about this tool is this tool can be run against other types of files. So for the presentation, I'm running against the actual Word document, but then I could use this to point it at PDFs, to point it at like graphics. So it's very versatile. So I wrote the script once, and then I can use it for multiple different reasons. So now continuing on, we're going back to a demo. So scrolling in, to do the actual metadata is going to be option 3. So I'll type in 3. Again, drive letter is C. One quick second. Now, one quick second down, I'll zoom in for this. And for here, the only thing you have to enter in is the actual path to the file, which is the document. So I entered in the path for that Staples document. So once you do that, you hit enter, and then this is just prompting for a actual name. This is just for the output. I'll type in Staples. Again, mounted volume. You know what? This one will say yes. We'll do the mounted as well. It's running. So now it just finished. So now you can see I just parsed the metadata from a document across 12 VSCs. And if you look, you can see it's present all the way up until shadow copy 12. Shadow copy 11, it says file not found. Copy 10, file not found. So that's saying that that file was created on the system, or created in that folder, going back until shadow copy 12. So now let's go in for that output to see how it looks. So now again, the output is put in a folder called just metadata. And I'm just going to scroll down until shadow copy 12 so we can see how the actual data looks. If you see down here, since it didn't find it in 11 or 10, it's not there. So when you're looking at the actual metadata, there's a couple things we can get. You can see the file name, the actual directory that the document was in. Sorry, I just drew over top of that. We can also see what the template was that was used to create it. And it was the background finance chart. So now this confirms what the jump list showed, that that Word did use this template. And then there's a couple other stuff. So I'll scroll down. You can see what the creator was, what the last modified was. In this instance, it is X. Most of the time, you'll see a actual name of the account that's being used. And the reason and then the reason why my documents are showing X, because when I got prompted when I first ran Word, it asked you what is the name you want to use. I just typed in X. If you're interested in just where that information is getting pulled from, if you go into a system, this is the path to the key that stores the information, and the value that it's pulling the information from is called username, and then it's shadow copy 12. That path I showed you is valid for Windows 2007, 2003 sorted some results, as well as Office 2000. So then going back to the metadata, there's actually one last thing I wanted to show in this metadata real quick, and that is the actual the number of the revision, and we can see that the revision is 1. So this meant that since this document was created, it was only once this document was created and saved, there was no changes made to it. So this is the first time that the document is there. So now what we can do is just scroll up through the actual parse metadata to see when has this document actually changed. And we're looking to see when that number is actually changes from 1 to 2. And then if we look, we can see right now that the revision number has changed to a 2. That means the document was modified and then saved, and that is occurring in shadow copy 17. So right now we see we're at volume shadow copy 17. We can scroll up again, and once we scroll up again, we can see shadow copy 18. The document has changed again. So at this point, looking at the actual metadata, gave us it actually gave us some clarity. It actually ties the document to Corey's account because of that key, and then it also shows us when this document was changed. So we could see that the document was changed with shadow copy 17, and then also shadow copy and then the other one for the 18. Any questions? JJ, I'm not sure if it is configurable by the group policy. I do know on your local system that you can configure the size. I'm not sure if you can actually configure the actual number for it to keep. And I'm just fixing this so people can see the chats. All right. So step 4 is to actually copy out the actual documents and then to examine them. I'm going to be just copying the documents out and then examining them. So now we're back to the last demo of the night. And before I run this demo, I just wanted to point out this is the actual document that we got from my live system. And just pay attention to this, the invoice number again, 235. It's for a desk, and then the price is for $1,000. I'm going to go back to my program or the scripts, and for this, I'm going to be going into the option for the file for the information, going to 3, and then this is some of the actual the different options. For one of the questions before, can the scripts hash it, or else can you use hashes to see the differences? And then this is the one that is posted publicly, that these options are there. So you can hash, but if you want to see what the differences are between them, just run option 3, and then this will run through and then compare the differences. The hashing and also the differences does take a basic while to run, so you're going to be waiting. But for the demo, the option that I care about is to do option 4, which is to export a file. So now, most of the time, if I do try to copy data out from a volume shadow copy, it's just to grab a basic folder. So like I don't have the need to copy a lot of data out anymore because I just parse it directly right inside of it. So option 4, again, drive letter is C. And now this is asking me to enter in the actual folder path, and I'll zoom in a second. So now you see this just asks for the actual for the folder path. The one little thing that doesn't work is the file path, and that's just because of a switch I'm using. If you enter file, it's going to error out, but it will do the folder. So then I want to grab the video folder since that's where the documents are. Then this is just the format that I need it. I'll click enter. to grab it. There's just prompts for another name, just to name the folder. Just type in Staples, and boom, it's done. It just went through all 12, got that folder, and then you can see. So now let's go in. So now let's go into that folder. Again, in the output folder, you see an actual new file called export. When you go inside of export, on the bottom, you see logs. This will show you all the files that are copied out, and then it'll show you errors. And then then it has the actual folder from each shadow copy. So the first folder, though, that I want to see is shadow copy 12, since that's the document. So since that's where that document first showed up on the system in that folder. So inside of this folder 12, we can see on this date there was only one document and then a folder. So those other Word documents did not show up. It did not show up though in this folder yet. So let's just open up this Word document to see what it is. Again, I'll zoom in real quick so we can see this is a different. So we can see that this is the same document, but there's different content inside of this document. This is showing its invoice for $233 instead of $235, and it's for a lot of other stuff. It's for stuff for about $5,000. And then prior to the volume shadow copies, in order to see content differently within a document, you had to go to backups. So you had to look somewhere for a backup. So now with volume shadow copies, once you get that data out, so you can see how the document was over time. So we found a actual Word document on the live system that was an invoice. And then that's for one invoice, but that's only showing the data inside that invoice at the time though that we had it. If you think back to that one image where it's showing you where it's showing that guy all at different points in time, you can go look at that document at a different point in time and see the data that is inside of it. This is where it's extremely powerful. And then this is also then the way how this would benefit. Now, if I was processing this case for real, I could go back to the investigators or else to the auditors and be like, look, I found this other invoice, so you can look for this. So this can help them out and give them something though that they might not have seen yet, especially if the document is being used for a different vendor. So this is just for Staples. It wouldn't be hard for me to change it to something else and just keep the same file name. So this is from volume shadow copy 10. Actually, sorry, that's from shadow copy 12. So now the document did change in shadow copy 17. So if you scroll in, so now we can see at shadow copy 17 that there's more documents showing up in here. Now there's documents for basically Walmart. So let's check out that Staples document. Scroll down. Again, again, this shows different data. So now we're getting more data from this Word document from different points in time, and this is where it's this is where it's kind of like really cool, then because it can kind of help you provide more. This can help you to see a better picture of just what has been going on. So going out. So that there was my last demo. And see if there's any more questions. Nope. So then now going on for the summary. First, I'm just going to go to the case summary just by doing 4 steps. And one of the steps was accessing the shadow copy. So just by doing 3 steps to examine data across 12 different volume shadow copies, we found out that yes, Corey's account was being used to create documents, and yes, those documents were financial. They were invoices and they were receipts. And then now this is showing document 1. This is from the volume shadow copy 12 from February 1st. So going on. This is all of the actual information that we got from just the shadow copy 12 that was created on January 31st. Now this could be done for those 3 different volume shadow copies. And then also, this timeline is only showing you data from 3 sources: jump lists, metadata, and link files. So if you want to see a more complete picture, you could bring in your browser history, and you can bring in the actual file system. Then this will show you exactly what Corey was doing with those documents about 2 months ago. Then you can go and see what he was doing with those documents last month. So then you can build this out across all the shadow copies to see a more complete picture of just what someone has been doing. So by looking at this, you can see starting off at 949, the office metadata shows that the document was created, and it shows that a template being used was a finance charge. And then the jump list shows at 949.12 that the finance charge was accessed. If anyone's curious about the time discrepancy between 949 and 949.12, that's because office metadata for the 2000 does not record seconds, so it just chomps off the seconds and just shows you 949. So, but the jump list helps to validate that yes, that template was used and he did use it in Word. And then we can see at 953 through the link files that a actual image was created on the system called staples.png. And then at 954 we can see through the jump list that Word did access that Staples image. And this was where if you brought in the browser history, maybe that would show where that image actually came from. So then some of the other things through the metadata and the link files and the jump list shows that the document was modified, when it was modified, when it was created on the system, when it was also accessed, and then when it was modified. So all of this just built it out for just one volume shadow copy. And again, you could do this across all the shadow copies, and it gives you a pretty crystal clear picture of what's going on. So in summary, the practitioner method, ripping VSCs, in general, it's just another option that you have to see data. So if you're looking at a system that has shadow copies, look at the system, look at the image, and then you can see that same data across the shadow copies. And the rip and VSC method is just another option you have. You can still image, you can still copy the data out. It all basically depends on just what you need, what you want to do. The practitioner method, in general, it uses existing tools. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to go to a training. You just use what's currently in your own tool set. And that's why I called it the practitioner method, is because anyone can do it. There's a developer method, and that one you have to program. That's why I called it a developer. If anyone's interested more about basically ripping volume shadow copies, whichever method, go to my blog. I did a series, what was that, last month? It was a 5 or 6 part series where I completely outline it, and I provide more detailed background information on just how the method works. This presentation, I'm trying to show how you can use that method to actually process a case. And lastly, if you want to know more about examining volume shadow copies in general, check out Harlan's latest book. Chapter 3, he does a pretty good job of explaining how to access it, and then he also covers different tools that can be used to examine it. Like one is ProDiscover, has the ability where you can actually examine it on a system. So that's in summary. So rounding it out, that concludes my presentation. If there's any questions, I'm just going to look on the left and on the right. Zan, to answer your question about scanning through all of the volume shadow copies, that right there would sort of depend on just what your purposes are. What are you trying to accomplish? For me, I would pretty much scan across all shadow copies as if I'm looking for activity. Like if I want to know what somebody has been doing, if the shadow copies cover 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then I will scan every single shadow copy to provide a more complete picture. But other times, if I'm just interested in a certain time span, like if I'm just interested in on when something was done to the system, when a program was ran, then I would only look at that shadow copy. So a lot just depends on just what your purpose is. So it looks like that's it for questions. I'll kick it back to you, Mike.